And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coach's Playbook for Tuesday, August 2nd. We're live again, no recordings, and we're here to have a celebration of kinds because Topstep just turned 10. So we kind of wanted to go back through that, talk about the past, the future, maybe the present. What I find super interesting looking around here and the people on here is that we've all been at Topstep for a pretty long time. I'm the shortest. I've been here for a little over 3 years, but Dan, you're at
6.
Mick,
7.
Hogue,
187 years. No,
I believe it.
No, we're not talking your age, John.
You look it.
Just over 10 years.
Yeah, so that's a crazy amount of time that we've spent in here. So I thought the good person to start with this today is Hogue. If you could tell a little bit about like how you came to Topstep and kind of how it's changed sort of you as a trader.
Well, yeah, I mean, in 2009, I had to step away from the trading pit. The opportunities weren't just weren't there anymore, and start to learn how to trade on screen, which I had learned through other people's experience was a bigger task than most of them thought. Most of them were very unsuccessful at it. So I had a client on the Merck floor who was actually a roommate of Mike Patak's, and he told me about Topstep when we were just about the same time we were combining exchanges. So they told me about it. I said, you know what, this is great. I just have to be a part of it. So I just kept hanging around, making myself available. And as they grew, they started using me to talk to traders on the phone, whatever it was. And it was, I think, May of 2012 where I was kind of brought on a full-time basis, but I had been doing stuff part-time before that. And just the whole idea of having a safe place for traders to learn and to develop a strategy without risking their own risk capital, and most people are risking a lot of risk capital to do that. I just had to be a part of it, and I've been here ever since.
That's an exceptionally good time to get involved too, because what Hogue alluded to, I was never on the floor. I was on the screens the whole time, but there was a very fraught and frankly painful transition for a lot of folks that were on the floor going to the screens that I think really drives home sort of that need for that sort of safety, because there were people that were incredible floor traders that really blew things up rather quickly on. I think it's just easier because there's lower barriers of entry when you have electronic trading, just to go and kind of treat it like a slot machine or whatever else. It's just a click of the finger. There's no one there to sort of back you up, and it's important to have that support system for anything you do. So and then Mick, Hogue, you were gonna say something?
I just knowing that the floors were eventually going to be going away, and that the way that I learned about the business just by working on the trading floor and working my way up was no longer going to be available. There was definitely a need for Topstep, because how else were people going to learn about how to trade?
Good point. Mick, you're not too far behind. Kind of how'd you get here? And also, you've been the risk manager now for 7 years or whatever else. I think that you have some of the most interesting insights into sort of what's going on over that time. So take it away.
Yeah, so I came to Topstep. It was kind of by chance. I had heard about Topstep because the woman at the time I was working for, she ran a fund. Her daughter actually worked at Topstep as a customer support representative. So she ended up deciding to retire I think it was for the second time this time around. So she closed the fund down and she's like, why don't you go talk to the people over at Topstep and, see what they've got going on over there. So I went over and spoke with Michael, and I don't know, I liked the concept of what they were doing, and I liked Michael, had a good conversation with him, and I really, coming from having traded for myself prior to being with the prop firm and then at a hedge fund, I struggled a little bit when I first started, and then I struggled towards the end of trading full time for myself too. So I thought Topstep was kind of a cool concept, like I had already said, and I really saw like a niche in the market for it, and helping traders, because I'd seen people that, like John had said, been on the floor being very successful, and then they went to the screen and struggled. Having struggled myself, I was like, this is awesome. Create a space where people can learn to trade, or work on their trading in a safe environment, and then we get to back them, so basically risk free. I liked that a lot and thought that I could roll with it, so I've been rolling with it for 7 years now. And in that time, there's so much I've seen. Our program has evolved quite a bit. I like where we're at. I like where we're going. Some of the new conversations we're having about, opening the program up a little bit. I've seen a lot of seen and worked with a lot of great people finding success. I've also seen and worked with a lot of people that have, struggled and struggled quite a bit. So I've seen a lot of good, a lot of bad. Like John and you had mentioned, I have a lot of horror stories about that transition from the pits to the screens. But I've seen a lot of names pop up repeatedly on my boards that I'm watching on my screens, and it's been really nice for me seeing some of these traders that I've seen over the years, that might have earned an account and then lost that account, come back and do a little bit better the next time around. So it's been really nice. My favorite thing about working here is, working with the traders and helping people that, want to be helped. There's certain people out there that, they don't want to take advice or listen. They just want to come out and do their thing. Those are the people that I usually see kind of just spinning their wheels, not going anywhere. But it's great getting to work with. We do have a lot of passionate people that are passionate about, trading itself, learning about themselves. And those are the people that, I like working with, someone who wants to, get help. And I learn things from the traders too. So that's pretty cool as well.
That is nice. Yeah. And Dan, you've kind of transitioned a bit. You've been here for like 6 years now, kind of from doing videos to still doing videos, but now you're doing our compliance stuff and that sort of risk stuff. So tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think I've worn about 10 different titles in my 6 years here at Topstep. I mean, I came in as a performance coach, rolled into video content and video production, and then into compliance. And, for me, it was kind of interesting when I came to Topstep. I was in the process of taking a little time away, going to start traveling a bit, because I was just part of a firm. We kind of hit that tipping point where I was like, all right, it's time for me to walk away. And I had some cash saved up. I was like, well, I'm going to take some time off. And I had known Michael prior to me joining Topstep. And he looked at me and goes, hey, you've obviously seen some shady things in the trading world. Let's just put it that way. I've watched people struggle. I, was on the floor during some pretty rough times. And part of the firm I was at, we had some difficult times that we went through. And Michael's like, why don't you come over here and just help some of our traders, like get on the phone with them and just start talking and sharing those experiences. And I was like, that could be kind of fun. I think Topstep's a cool situation. They got good risk management, the rules in place, like those are going to teach people. They're strict about it, which is what I like. I mean, as a military guy, I like, discipline, hold you accountable. But then once I started working with the traders, I started kind of learning a little bit more. And I think the coolest thing I've experienced with Topstep, right, was 6 years ago. What was that, 2016-ish, when I came over here? The retail world was totally different. It was not what we are today. The retail world then was a small little fraction, really just involved in crude oil. And the coolest thing, so over the last about 4 years, give or take, the retail market has increased by 300% in the futures industry, which is just a wild metric to kind of think about. And being able to kind of be a part of that growth, be a part of the changes there, see people succeed. Prime example, a trader I've worked with on and off for pretty much all 6 years, a trader named Ephraim. I think we've probably highlighted him in some of the success that he's had on this show and in other places. I would say this was probably the coolest moment I had at Topstep. I think it was 3 years. It was pre-COVID. So maybe 3 years ago, I get an email from him and it's just a picture of a Tesla. And I was like, what the heck? So I emailed him back. I was like, why are you sending me pictures of a car? He goes, well, my payout that I just got, helped me buy this new car. And I was like, that's freaking cool. And then it followed up, and like a couple of weeks later, I got an email from a guy that I had just talked to, and he was able to put the down payment on his minivan because they had a third kid coming. And he's like, I had to upgrade cars, and my payout here is now leading me into a minivan. And I'm like, just kind of hearing those stories. I came into the trading world thinking, glitz and glam, private yachts, the whole 9 yards. When I was a kid, that's what I envisioned as trading. And as I got older, it kind of changes when you start having responsibilities. And to me, those are just some of the coolest things I've gotten to experience here at Topstep. And what kind of keeps me around is just seeing these traders excited about stuff and passionate about what they're doing. And it's kind of created a new passion in the industry for me.
But yeah. Oh, Mick, throw it in.
If I may, I can't help but think about this. Danny mentioned, the Tesla and the minivan, some things people have used there with payouts for. Remember when Corbett had that $40,000 winning day, and he took the 40K and said he was going to use it for Chipotle and beer, or Chipotle and Coors Light, I think specifically.
Yeah, he's a Colorado guy.
Yeah,
that was quite something. So, as Dan sort of alluded to, Topstep kind of started this funding industry 10 years ago, and that has grown quite a bit too, where there's a lot of companies doing it out there. And I suppose as we hit 10 now there's a founder Q&A tomorrow at 11:30 Central with MP. If you want to check that out, there'll be an email going out shortly. And I'm kind of interested in some quick thoughts about what we think the future of this industry holds, because I think there's some cool stuff coming down the pipes, but also I think that where we are now can get a lot better, more efficient, provide better perks, better learning. So, Hogue, where do you think this is sort of going, or like what?
Like where will we be in 10 years
what's
from
the next
today
10 years?
when Topstep hits 20?
I think that we're going to solidify the program even better than it is now, which I think is already excellent. I think we're going to have a whole lot more opportunities for newbies to learn. I think we're going to be, adding more and more live content in real time in real markets, to try and help people understand the mindset and what it takes to be a trader in again real time.
That's what I think that the long-term goal is. When we look at what we would love to do is just to have automated AI feedback on everything. And that's something we're very in the opening stages of trying to do with Coach T and things like that. But I see a huge spot and we're not going to make it annoying. It's not going to be like Clippy telling you how to trade for the people my age out there, but more.
That'd be great. I'd love to see Clippy come back.
Dan, big fan of, what was it, Windows 95, 97, something like that.
Something like that.
Well, it would be cool because we talk about how a lot of floor traders switching had trouble with not having the right support network. And we know, even though you can have your friends and stuff around online or stuff, it's a lonely endeavor sometime. And if we could somehow, evolve the tools to build that support network where it's knowing that, like, hey, you've been adding this, like, you sure you want to do this, sort of like you get when you try and delete something important on the computer or something, is I think there's a lot of room for us to grow there. And then on the short term things, which like Mick can talk about as well, is don't want to hint anything too strongly, but we are definitely have some, I think, improvements coming as far as we're listening to your feedback, let's just say, and we may be doing some stuff. Is there anything you want to add there, Mick, or do we want to keep the secrecy?
I think we'll stay veiled in secrecy and let the marketing team release stuff out.
That's cool. Well,
I'll give a little teaser. Just join tomorrow at 11:30, and I wouldn't be surprised if founder and CEO Michael chime in and says a little teaser more.
Yeah, he tends to be a little looser with the words, but it is his company, so he can do that. So I think helping traders that way, I think we're also going to get, as the technology improves, so much more just efficient in general as far as what we can offer and at what price point. I just think that there's so much more we can be doing there just to make this experience as kind of seamless as possible for the trader. And Dan, you're on the compliance end of things. You know that this can be sort of a tricky industry to navigate as far as working with, not that they're tricky, but working with our brokerage partners and things like that. But would you agree there's probably a lot of room for us to improve in the next
Yeah,
decade?
I definitely don't disagree with that. I will say too, right, if you go back to where Topstep was 10 years ago versus where we are today, you know, when the industry first started, rules were guided around winning percentages, risk to reward ratios, and so many things have changed. And, you know, it's kind of slimmed back from there. And I think it will continue to slim, you know, and I think over the next 10 years, like that's where my head's at. I'm like, you know, we're at 10, let's double it up. You know, we all like, you know, doubling our profit targets in a sense. You know, I think in 10 years, this industry, what it's done is it's created an opportunity that was never there. You know, whether most people, when they get into the trading world, right, they come into stocks. It's a general way to do it. And if you're making over 25 executions in a day, you're considered a pattern day trader. And for that case, you know, according to the CFT, or excuse me, according to FINRA, you've got to have a large amount of cash supplied to be 25K right now. And I know they've talked about changing that to a higher number. And so accessibility really to do more than just a little bit here or buy some options against your you know, your retirement funds and things like that. So it's really changed the accessibility, and I think it will continue to change the accessibility. I think it's important though, no matter where this industry goes, the idea and concepts of trading don't change, right? It's all about risk management. It's about controlling downsides. It's about staying true to a plan and avoiding that gambling mentality. We've all heard, you know, gambling when it comes to trading, and you really got to continue to avoid that because that's where it leads to. It goes back to when I was a little kid. My dad was a trader, and as we were growing up, we started learning more about trading. And I'll never forget it. A friend of mine, his name was Jim, went up to my dad and was like, "Mr. Hodgman, what do you do for work?" And my dad's like, "I buy and sell things." He was like trying to minimize it and make it as simple to understand as possible. And he's like, "So you're just guessing where the things are going to go?" He's like, "Well, yeah, I have an idea." He's like, "So it sounds like it's kind of gambling." And my dad took this huge offense to the concept of gambling, and it stuck with me. And he looks at him and goes, "No, I have strategies, I have plans, and I have theoreticals that are telling me exactly how things are going to go based off of probability." He goes, "If it was gambling, I would not be doing this. There's a lot more to it than just taking the shot." And I think that's really stuck with me my entire life as I have grown in this industry.
That's a good summation of the whole thing there. To bring things full circle before we have any final thoughts, I thought it was cool, and I think this is something I can announce, is that we're bringing the new back to the old, and that we're moving our office back to the Chicago Board of Trade, I think, which I know we're all really excited about. So maybe at some point we'll hold some office hours or something, maybe downstairs at Sirius or something like that. A little happy hour, like you used to do those back in the day, right, Hug?
Yeah, we did. We had
a lot of those.
Yeah,
those were fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, maybe that's coming back. If you're ever in Chicago, anyone out there, maybe we'll do one of those happy hours at Sky Rider Series or something. So any final thoughts on all this before we head off for today? I know we could probably fill another hour with every story along the way. Hug?
Yeah, sure. My final thought is I can't believe how lucky I am to have been in this industry for as long as I have been. And I think one of the best parts of my long career in this industry has been the ability to work with traders here at Topstep. I want to thank all of you for being a part of this and for all of the things that you've taught me. There's always more to learn in futures. There's always more to learn in the markets, and you all have afforded me the opportunity to learn from you. So thank you.
That's very nice, Hogue. Dan, do you want to follow that up with your quote du jour, or do we let
Well,
it
I just
ride?
want to make sure. I know Mick was about to say something
Oh, Mick,
and
go
chime
for
in,
it.
so I want to.
Thanks, Dan. I did want to give a shout out. One of our traders, Braden Lindemann, today up $3,900 in the Nasdaq. Heck of a day. So wanted to share that.
You know, I've been here for more than 3 years, but I always forget to ask you that at the beginning of this. So
That's okay.
thank you for waiting until there was a natural space into it instead of the like, you forgetting something, Jack? So,
No problem.
all right, Dan, what do you got for us?
All right, I do have a quote. I'm gonna kind of continue to pump up Topstep here a little bit. You can find this on our Trust Pilot. It comes from Corey Z. I've been trading off and on for 5 years, and Topstep is the first trading community I feel like I was part of a family. There's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to read the first line. I think that was pretty cool, and I think, you know, internally we feel like we're a family, and we like to make our traders feel like that too.
Yeah. And speaking of which, it's been nice, you know, working with you guys along the way too. Can't believe it's been like 3.5 years or something that I've been here. So it's been nice.
Feels
along
like
the
you
way.
just got going, Jack.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but sure.
And we've only played golf once, Jack. We got to.
We did. That was fun. We got to do that again. So, Hogue, why don't you sign us off for this?
Oh, sure thing. Hey, it's been 10 fabulous years. Mick, 7 years working with you has been a dream. Dan, 6 years working with you has been, I guess, kind of a dream. Jack, you've been
Nightmare.
You've been at your stride since you got here. It's been wonderful having all of you, and it's been wonderful working for all of you as well. So get out there and profit, trade well. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for the kind words, John. Take care.
Yeah, thanks for the lack of kind words, John.